Let's have an unboxing! Well, it's been a while since I did the stupid Italian accent. But yeah, let's have an unboxing. How's it going? Hope you're doing alright. It's been a while since we did a little unboxing, so let's do an unboxing. Today, I have something I've been kind of excited for since it was first announced. And I did wait a little bit to see some reviews on YouTube and elsewhere, and just reading those and seeing those, I decided to pick it up. We have the Retron HD from Hyperkin. It is a hardware-based NES player with HDMI, so it can play over HDMI. Now, just because I should say it, even though it shouldn't come as any surprise really, I am not sponsored by Hyperkin. I do not have the view count nor the subscriber numbers to be sent stuff from any company or given free stuff for review. I purchased this from GameStop a couple of weeks ago using the trade credit that you saw last video in the video game day trading video, and the massive amount of credit I received from that. I spent $39.99 on this from that trade credit at GameStop, and that is its retail price, $39.99. So I have kind of held off until just now to open it up and take a look at it, and then plug it in and give it a whirl. So yeah, not paid, bought it myself, and I'll tell you why I bought it myself. I'm kind of sick of NESs, really. You know, you buy an NES, and, you know, I've heard it's a simple fix to get in there and either fix those 72-pin connectors or even install a new one. I'm not technically inclined. I've never been good at putting together models. I was a solid C student in shop class back in school, just not good with the hands. So I wanted a nice little solution that I can put into this TV right here through an HDMI cable and be able to reliably play all my NES games for cheap. And $39.99. There's other hardware-based NES emulators or NES players. They cost hundreds of dollars. This one's $40. So let's take a look at the box. There's the front. Got the system and the controller right there. On the back, just a bunch of words. Looks like it outputs at 720p. You can choose your aspect ratio, either 16:9 or 4:3. It has a controller, a USB cable, and an NTSC, or an American to PAL. NTSC to PAL. So I can play the European UK games on this as well. Box has got a little corner, and you'll see why, I think, because it's part of the system as well. Let me get my knife, and let's open it up. I'm hoping this thing is good because just this past week, Hyperkin announced a hardware-based over HDMI SNES player they want to release later this year. So if it's in the same price range, and if this thing's any good, I may go with that. Although I don't usually have problems with SNESs. I've never had an SNES just, you know, give out. Maybe if I had a regular NES top loader. I've heard those things are way more reliable than the first NESs. SNES seems like a beast. Alright, so right away, that thing came out. So, there it is when you open the package, right there. So in here, let's see, let's just take this off. We have the power adapter, which is USB, so technically you can play this over USB. You don't actually have to plug it in. It can be USB powered. I could plug it into the computer or whatnot. Alright. Unit itself. There it is. Kind of looks like the NES, maybe a cross between the NES and the Famicom. You can also get it, I believe, in black. So here it is. There's the front. As you can see, it takes regular NES controllers. Power reset, very similar to the NES. Back here, we have the micro USB port, HDMI port, RCA cables, and the aspect ratio right there, 16:9, 4:3. On the bottom, right there, is where you can choose between PAL or NTSC. I'm just going to go ahead and put it on NTSC right now because I don't have any PAL carts. And little indentation right there. So there is the Retron HD unit. We have here it's like a standard set of the red, yellow, white RCA cables, USB power cord, an HDMI cable that looks kind of tiny. And here is the pack-in controller, right there. Very similar to the NES. It has two. Here you can see it, right there, and the back has a couple bumps right in there. So if we were going to compare it to a regular NES controller, there they are, right there, right there. It's like about the same length and same width as the regular NES controller. Just first thoughts. And then they've got grooves up here on top. I'm not sure why they did that. I've heard some people say this one feels a little bit more comfortable than the regular NES due to the little bumps. It feels like an NES controller. D-pad seems pretty good. So there's that. Let's check that cord length. Get this off of there. Get the zip tie off. And a really nice long cord. Goodness. And regular NES port. So that's what's in the box. I don't believe there's anything. Oh yeah, there is a little, the teeniest of tiniest instruction manual with just basic instructions. I mean, it should be you plug it in and play, which is what I'm going to do right now. So I'm going to kind of clean this up a little bit, and we're going to test a couple games on it, which I'm kind of looking forward to because, like I said, this is hardware based. Most of these are software emulation. This one is hardware emulation, so we're going to give it a whirl. Alright, be back in just a moment. Alright, here we go. We have it all kind of plugged in and hooked up. One thing I want to point out, that just before we even get started, one little disappointment in this unit right here is it plays North American and PAL region. However, it doesn't play Famicom games. So, at least part way, it's not going to replace my Generation Next, which has actually been alright as far as an NES player, but has got the Famicom slot right there. Now, according to their release, when they announced the Super Nintendo version of this, they say that will play Super Famicom games. So, I don't know why. I think maybe the shape of the carts. I don't really know exactly why we couldn't get Famicom compatibility in this unit, even though we have PAL region compatibility, but here we are. So I have it hooked up over HDMI. There's the RCA cables, and I've got the Hyperkin controller, and let's just get started. I will start with Super Mario Bros. 2, probably one of my most played games as a kid, so I'm kind of familiar with it. So if anything's off kind of color-wise, sound-wise, I would hope that I will hear it or notice it, even though we are doing it over HDMI on a HD TV. We'll see. I'll turn it up some. Alright, so here we go. Let's put in Super Mario Bros. 2. Feels kind of loose in there. Let's see what it does. Turn it on. We got power. Right off the bat. Alright. There that is. There we go. Alright. So this is 4x3. Let's see if we change this on the fly. Okay, so you can't change the aspect ratio on the fly. So let's put it in 16:9 and turn it on. There that is. Takes a second to boot up. So let's Toad always. Let's check the controller. That doesn't look right. Oh no. Alright, I mean... Alright. I mean, it feels like an NES controller. I don't know exactly what these are supposed to be doing. I mean, I guess maybe it's a little bit comfortable, more comfortable to grip because of the little pimples back here. Feels like an NES controller. D-pad feels alright. I mean... Awesome. Alright. I'm not an expert as far as... you know, music, visuals. I mean, I'm not an audiophile who can like detect the most minute thing. I always play with settings. If it doesn't look right, doesn't sound right, I mess around with it till I'm comfortable with it. So let's see what happens. There's no eject button or anything. You just... oh my god. It is in there. Okay, so you gotta give it a little force to get it out of there. So next up, we're going to try a game that notoriously doesn't usually work on these emulated consoles, Castlevania 3 Dracula's Curse. So let's put that in and see what we got. Like I said, takes a minute. I'm not sure if doing this, like stretching to 16:9 is causing any issues with... I mean, it looks good. It looks good. According to the box, it says 720p. So, there we go. Me. I know I don't have a capture card or anything, so I know you probably can't tell much by watching the screen like this, but I mean, to me it looks great. And then we'll switch it back. I wish you could do this on the fly, but you can't. It's relatively easy though to reach around. I mean, depending on where you put the system, is how well you're going to be able to access the changing the aspect ratio, or even changing the region, because the region is underneath the console. So if you're putting this inside an entertainment center or whatever, you're going to want to keep it kind of within reach if you are going to be changing the aspect ratio or playing other carts. I thought, maybe I need to read the instructions, I thought there was a way to add like scan lines or whatever, but I'm not really seeing it. I don't know, but we have Castlevania 3 up and running on this console. Once again, it's very snug in there. Alright, next I'm going to go ahead and take out the Hyperkin controller. Once again, very nice long cord. Nintendo, take note on future classic editions you release. And we will plug in the official Nintendo controller. Alright. And one last game I want to try out, and it's actually one that I've never shown off on a pickup video or anything. I just got it. It is a repro. Holy Diver. Holy Diver, Famicom only, Japanese only, never got a release here in America. Mostly due to copyrights, due to vague references to Dio, Holy Diver, other 80s metal references, so never got a release here. Also notoriously hard. We will see if this thing plays a repro card. And there we go. Power on. Holy Diver. Awesome. Let's check it in 16:9. Once again, the controllers are pretty snug in there. Yeah. Let's try some Holy Diver. It is in English if you want to pick it up. Kind of Castlevania-esque. Oh, as I already get my ass kicked. All right. Notoriously hard. Damn, they ain't fucking around. And I'm... Oh, come on! Oh, gotta get whatever the hell that is. Oh shit! God! Oh, oh shit! We're gonna have some fun with that one. Oh my god! Holy Diver I picked up from the local retro store for $35. Famicom carts on eBay are going for at least $100. That's like really low end, usually around $135 or so. So we got the repro of Holy Diver. And our little Retron 1 handles it. Handles it very well. Overall, very, very pleased. I did plug it in. I haven't used the USB, but supposedly you can use the USB power supply. You know, if you can have your TV power it. I don't know if that's something you want to do, but you can, in theory, do that. So there we are, the Retron HD by Hyperkin. It's $40, and I think, you know, unless you're just you love like working on NESs, or you taking care of yours and it's absolutely perfect. I've already recommended this, like said, you know, be on the lookout for this, because when people, you know, I'm looking out for video games at garage sales or whatever, they're like, oh man, I would love to like get an NES again. Where do you go get an NES? And I say, you know, we have a local retro store and he sells them for whatever, but honestly, those old NESs, they're 30 plus years old. They're finicky little shits. Those fucking connectors are hell, and not everybody wants to open up an NES. This thing is $40. You can play it on your modern TV over HDMI. You ain't got to reach around and put in RCA cables. I think it's a very elegant solution. If you're a perfectionist, if you can get one of those $500 things that are perfect. And I've seen them, and they're beautiful, but they are like $500 or more. This thing's $40. I think it's a great solution. I would definitely recommend it to people who just want to, like, man, I'd love to go back and play the NES. Well, don't spend money trying to find a working old NES clunky thing to sit. Just get this thing for $40 and then worry about finding the games. Buy the games at your local retro store or your pawn shop, whoever has it, or off eBay. Get this. $40 is a great price, and, you know, unless you're just super hardcore into it and you got to have all those options that those big expensive machines have, or you're just an absolute purist and you've got to only play it on original hardware, I think this is going to be kind of my solution for NES playing, because I hate digging out that NES, and I hate like half the time I put a card in and I got a blinking light, so I clean the card. So I gotta look in there. Then I'm like, oh, let me look. Should I go in there and clean the connector? Should I order a connector replacement? Then I gotta open it up. I did order some tools recently so I can open up games and systems, but I'd rather have one that's reliable all the time, and this one kind of fits my needs perfectly on that. And it's so small, I can keep it in a drawer like right here, and anytime I want some NES goodness, put it right in there, and I can be playing while I'm watching fucking Game of Thrones tonight. You know what I'm saying? Even though I'll be paying attention to Game of Thrones. So, yeah, I'm kind of a fan, and they're definitely on my radar for the SNES. But like I said, the SNES, I've never had an issue with any Super Nintendo I've come into possession of, ever. Any garage sale finds, any thrift store finds, I've never had one that just like didn't work. Those things are beast. And the only reason I would get the SNES version of this is because it plays Super Famicom games, even though I have emulator that plays Super Famicom games, which I've shown on here before. The Mario and Wario game, and whatever that other game. Oh, I forgot what the other game was. I have 2 Super Famicom games. It is compatible with accessories, so it should be compatible with Light Gun, and anything else you want to put in there. It should be completely compatible, hardware based. And really my only disappointment is no Japanese, just PAL and North American regions. I don't know if there's any PAL exclusives on the NES that I now need to look at, now that I have a working solution to play PAL NES games. So I guess I'll look into that. Otherwise, very happy. Very happy with that purchase. Good purchase, and I would definitely recommend it as just kind of a reliable, small, I mean, especially I don't need to pull out an NES to compare it to the size of an NES. This thing is probably over half smaller than a regular NES. I could probably just keep it right here, and it'll be kind of out of the way, plug in a game and start playing. All right, that is my little unboxing slash review. You know, first look, not really a review because I mean I spent 15 minutes playing with it. I'm not going to review it. I would recommend it. I think it does what it said it did. It plays all the games, I'm assuming, because I know Dracula's Curse was one of the notorious ones that never worked on consoles like this because of the software emulation. So this is all hardware. So that's awesome. All right, thanks for watching. I'll be back again soon, hopefully with another episode of $5 Game Box. Get that edited and uploaded for you before I head to Vegas later this week to see Lady Gaga. So cool. Thanks to you all for watching. Like and subscribe if you wish. Leave a comment down below. Tell me what you think. Tell me what you think of consoles like this. This is my first Hyperkin console. I know that like people have the Retron 5, the Retron 3. For some reason, I never really got into those because I had all the, you know, I didn't want to have a bunch of cords like, okay, here's my Genesis controller, here's my Super Nintendo controller, here's my Nintendo controller, oh, here's my box of Game Boy cards right next to my console. Like, but this, small and the hardware based, really was the one that, you know, perked my ear. Oh, this isn't just another one, this random emulator box that somebody's trying to sell. Hardware based, and the price, $40, over HDMI, HD. It had my ear, and I consider that I'm happy with my purchase so far. So like and subscribe if you wish. Leave a comment down below, and I'll see you real soon.